The state of Arizona is pumping an additional $14 million into 3 public universities in their fight against the coronavirus. Team 12's Mitch Carr was there for today's announcement by the governor. And Mitch, the governor praised all 3 university presidents for their work on the virus.
Mark and Caribe, the presidents of ASU, the University of Arizona, and NAU, were all present as Governor Ducey announced that money will continue flowing to those 3 universities for the purposes of COVID research as well as testing. And Governor Ducey singled out each university for some of the things that it's done as far as this pandemic goes. He thanked Arizona State for developing one of the country's first rapid return saliva tests. He thanked University of Arizona for developing its antibody test and also the process of testing wastewater to detect virus outbreaks. And he thanked NAU for its work in sequencing the virus and its many strains in the hopes of finding a cure. Then he turned to the economy and whether or not further restrictions are needed, and he said this.
Arizona's open. Arizona's economy is open. Arizona's educational institutions are open. Arizona's tourism institutions are open. The expectation is they are going to remain open. We are not going to be, due to a gradual rise in cases, be making any dramatic changes.
Governor Ducey also says that Arizonans should expect case numbers to rise because of an increase in testing. And he said anyone who is concerned with that should not be. They should instead look at the positivity rate and the hospitalization rate to judge how Arizona is doing with fighting the virus. And one more thing, Governor Ducey had a big thank you for Arizonans. He said because Arizonans are doing things like wearing masks and being responsible, he says the state is on the right track when it comes to the coronavirus. Live in downtown Phoenix, Mitch Carr, 12 News.
Okay, Mitch, thanks.